Look around you, at the person sitting next to you, at your own reflection in the screen. What you are seeing is not a fragile accident of biology, but a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, forged not in the calm, but in the crucible of chaos. Every single one of us, every ancestor in the long chain of being that led to this moment, is a survivor. They survived famine. They survived migration across impossible distances. They survived plagues and wars and the sheer unforgiving indifference of nature. Their survival is not a footnote in history. It is the very blueprint of your existence. Your heartbeat is a drum that has echoed through millennia, a rhythm that has outlasted every single storm it has ever encountered. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is genetic fact. You are not descended from fragility. You are built from the stuff of endurance. Consider the very framework that carries you through this world your skeleton. It is a dynamic living structure that responds to stress. When you place a demand upon a bone, through the weight of a load or the impact of a stride, microscopic fractures appear, and in response, your body does not surrender. It rebuilds. It sends its cellular repair crews to not only mend the break, but to lay down more mineral, more strength precisely where it is needed. The bone grows denser, tougher, more resilient. Stress met with the right response does not break it. It forges it. This is the literal physical truth of our design. We are not built to avoid pressure. We are built to incorporate it, to transform its message into fortitude. The storm of physical challenge, when faced, writes its history into our very foundations, making us harder to break the next time. Now, translate that principle from bone to mind, from body to spirit. Your psychological and emotional architecture operates on a profoundly similar principle. The storms you have weathered, the heartbreaks, the failures, the losses, the long nights of anxiety, these are not merely random sufferings to be forgotten. They are the stressors that, if you allow them, initiate a profound rebuilding. Every time you face a fear and move through it, you are not simply getting over something. You are laying down new neural pathways. You are strengthening the connections in your brain associated with courage. You are teaching your emotional core that despair has a limit, and that on the other side of it, you still exist. You still breathe. The memory of having endured becomes a pillar within you. You integrate the experience, and in doing so, your capacity expands. The storm becomes a part of your interior landscape, not as wreckage, but as topography. It shapes you, it gives you depth. It shows you the contours of your own strength. Think of the greatest periods of growth in your life. I would wager they did not occur during the easy, sun-drenched vacations of existence. They happened when you were stretched thin, when the clouds gathered, when you had to dig for resources you weren't sure you possessed. A seed nestled in the comfortable dark of a packet will remain a potential. It is only when it is buried in the cold, dark, pressing soil, a terrifying storm from the seed's perspective, that it is triggered to transform. The pressure, the darkness, the struggle is the signal to break open its own shell and reach blindly and faithfully for a light it cannot yet see. You are that seed. The very conditions that feel like they might destroy you are often the precise signals your spirit needs to initiate a metamorphosis you would never voluntarily choose, but which ultimately grants you a form capable of reaching heights you previously could not imagine. We often misinterpret the signs of this building process. The anxiety before a great challenge is not a red light warning you to stop. It is your systems powering up, directing energy and focus to the task at hand. The grief after a loss is not a permanent state of brokenness. It is the testament to the depth of your capacity to love and the arduous, sacred work of realigning a world that has been fundamentally changed. The fatigue after a long struggle is not a sign of defeat. It is the honorable fatigue of the builder, the one who has been lifting heavy stones to construct a stronger citadel within. Your emotions, even the difficult ones, are part of the architectural team. They are not the wrecking ball. They are the surveyors, the engineers, the laborers, all working on the project of you. To feel them deeply is not to be weak. It is to be under construction. And construction sites are inherently chaotic, noisy, and messy. Do not mistake the temporary chaos for the final design. The design is resilience. The design is strength. The design is you, standing complete, having integrated every storm into your structure. So today, I want you to begin a fundamental shift in perspective. Stop seeing yourself as a fragile vase placed precariously on a shelf, hoping the wind never blows. Start seeing yourself as an ancient redwood tree in the making. Your roots are driven deep by the very winds that seek to topple you. Your rings, the record of your life, are widened by seasons of drought and seasons of flood. The scars on your bark are not flaws. They are medals of honor, showing where you withstood a lightning strike and kept on living. The storm is not your opposite. It is your partner in growth. It is the force that asks the question, and your life is the living answer. You are already built for this. The proof is in the fact that you are here right now listening. You have survived every single one of your worst days so far. You are a living library of survival manuals, each written in the ink of past experience. The next time the sky darkens and the wind howls, remember, you are not a shack in that storm. You are the lighthouse, and lighthouses are built to withstand. They are built to guide. They are built to stand immovable, sending a beam of hope through the very tempest they were designed to outlast. That is your architecture. That is your birthright. Understanding that we are built to withstand is the foundation. But the true magic, the profound transformation, occurs in the how. How does the leaden weight of adversity become the gold of wisdom? How does the torrential rain of hardship nourish the roots of character? This process is not automatic. It is an alchemy. It is the conscious, often arduous work of taking the raw, chaotic elements of our pain and transmuting them into something of enduring value. The storm provides the pressure and the heat, but you are the alchemist in the laboratory of your own soul. Your mindset is the fire, your choices are the reagents, and your spirit is the crucible where base metals are turned to gold. Let's dismantle the greatest illusion about strength, that it is the absence of fear, of pain, of doubt. Nothing could be further from the truth. Strength is not a pristine, quiet fortress empty of feeling. It is a bustling, vibrant city that has learned to function magnificently even in the rain. Courage is not the lack of fear. It is the profound understanding that there is something more important than fear. It is the decision to feel the tremor in your hands, the cold knot in your stomach, and to step forward anyway because your purpose, your values, your love are louder than the screaming of your nerves. That moment of decision repeated is the core of the alchemical process. You are taking the fear, a corrosive, debilitating element if left alone, and you are combining it with action. The resulting compound is not fearlessness. It is resilience. It is the knowledge that you can carry fear as a passenger without letting it seize the wheel. This alchemy requires a radical honesty. We must be willing to look at the storm clouds without flinching and name them for what they are. That is not pessimism. It is the first and most crucial step of navigation. You cannot steer through fog if you deny the fog exists. To say, this is grief, this is betrayal, this is financial terror, this is failure, is to bring it out of the shadowy realm of vague dread and into the light where it can be examined, understood, and ultimately worked upon. Naming the storm strips it of some of its amorphous power. It becomes a specific weather system with a beginning, a middle, and critically an end. All storms pass. By acknowledging its true nature, you stop fighting the phantoms in your mind and start applying your strength to the real contours of the challenge. This honest appraisal is the alembic, the vessel that contains the chaotic mixture so the work can begin. And within that vessel, the transformative fire is choice. Adversity, by its very nature, feels like an imposition. It feels like something is being done to you. And in the initial instance, that may be true. But your eternal power lies in what you choose to do with what has been done to you. This is the fulcrum point of human destiny. Viktor Frankl, a survivor of the Nazi concentration camps, wrote from that hell, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. He saw the ultimate alchemy. In a place designed to reduce humans to animals, some chose courage, some chose to share their last crust of bread, some chose to find meaning in a sunset. They took the most base, horrific metal imaginable and began the impossible work of transmutation. Your circumstances, however difficult, are your raw material. Will you choose the narrative of victimhood or the narrative of the student? Will you choose bitterness or will you choose to sift the ashes for the few precious specks of insight? The choice is not a one-time event. It is a daily, hourly practice of forging your character in the fire of what you face. This is where we discover that the storm does not reveal our character so much as it builds it. We enter most challenges with a theoretical version of ourselves. We think we know how we handle loss or injustice or immense pressure. But theory is a map and the storm is the territory. It is in the walking of the rocky, windswept path that your muscles develop, your instincts sharpen, your compassion deepens. Patience is not born in tranquility. It is carved in the agonizing waiting room. Tenacity is not conjured in victory. It is hammered out on the anvil of repeated setback. Empathy is not learned from a book. It is earned when your own heart has been shattered and you can now recognize the subtle cracks in others. The storm is the master sculptor, and we are the block of marble. Each blow of the chisel, each moment of grating friction feels like destruction. But from the perspective of the finished work, it is the precise removal of everything that is not the true, powerful form within. The struggle is the sculpting. Therefore, do not pray for an easy life. That is a prayer for stagnation, for a softness that will leave you vulnerable to the first real gale that finds you. Pray instead for the unshakable strength that can only be earned. Pray for the tools of the alchemist, the clarity to see, the courage to feel, the wisdom to choose, and the faith to endure the process. Your most painful experiences are not interruptions to your life's path. They are the path. They are the forge. When you look back at the periods you now call hard times, you will likely find they were the periods of your most accelerated growth. You learned who you were. You learned who your true allies were. You learned what you could survive. You learned what matters. That knowledge is the philosopher's stone, the legendary substance that turns lead to gold. You already possess it. It is the sum total of every time you chose to get back up. The next time you are in the crucible, remember, you are not being consumed. You are being refined. The heat is not your enemy. It is the necessary condition for transformation. Trust the process. You are both the raw material and the artisan, and the masterpiece is already emerging. We have journeyed inward, examining the architecture of the self and the alchemy of individual transformation. But we must now turn our gaze outward to a truth just as fundamental. We are not built to withstand alone. The very image of the solitary hero standing unbowed against the gale is a magnificent myth, but it is incomplete. Our true design is symphonic. We are instruments, each with a unique tone and timbre, and when the storm's cacophony rises, it is not a solo that will rise above it, but a harmony so powerful and complex, it can absorb the discord and transform it into music. Our resilience is not just an individual trait. It is a collective resource, a network of roots interwoven beneath the soil, holding the entire forest upright when the winds scream. Consider the most basic unit of human endurance, the community. From the earliest hunter-gatherers who shared warmth and warning, to the modern neighborhoods that rally after a disaster, our survival is a team sport. Your ancestors did not outrun predators or build shelters as lone individuals. They did it as a chorus of coordinated effort. This is encoded in our biology. When we connect with others in trust and mutual support, our bodies release a cascade of neurochemicals, oxytocin, endorphins that literally dampen stress, reduce pain, and promote healing. A comforting hand on your shoulder during grief does more than offer symbolic support. It initiates a biochemical dialogue that says, you are not alone, and your system can stand down from its highest alert. Our nervous systems are designed to co-regulate, to find calm in the presence of another's calm. The storm, in its isolation, tells us to hunker down and hide. But our biology, when we listen to its wiser message, tells us to reach out and huddle together. This symphony plays out in a million unseen ways. The story of survival is always punctuated by the names of others. The friend who sat with you in silence when words were useless. The mentor who offered a ladder when you were in a pit of your own making. The stranger whose unexpected kindness restored your faith on a day it was flickering out. These people are not extras in the drama of your life. They are the section players in your orchestra, providing the bass line of support, the melody of hope, the rhythm of solidarity that keeps you moving forward. To be resilient is not to be entirely self-contained. It is to have the wisdom to be a conductor at times, leading and strengthening others, and the humility to be an audience member at others, allowing yourself to be carried by the music others make. It is a dynamic, flowing exchange of strength. There is a profound strength that awakens only when we are responsible for more than ourselves. This is the spirit that lifts parents through sleepless nights, that drives a team to achieve the impossible. For a shared cause that inspires a person the courage not for their own sake, but for the protection of someone vulnerable. The storm, when faced for a purpose greater than personal survival, changes its character. It becomes a challenge to be met, a dragon to be slain, not just a misery to be endured. Your why becomes an anchor that holds you fast in the wildest seas. And often, that why is tied to the well-being of others. Knowing that people are counting on you, that your endurance is the shelter for someone else, forges a kind of steel in the soul that personal comfort never could. You discover reservoirs of patience, creativity, and grit you never knew you had, because they were not meant for you alone. They were meant to be shared. The storm, in this light, becomes a call to service, and in answering that call, we find our highest strength. This collective spirit also grants us the gift of perspective. When you are trapped in the eye of your own hurricane, the world shrinks to the size of your pain. Everything is wind and water, but in community, you hear other stories. You see the friend battling illness with grace, the colleague rebuilding after loss, the neighbor finding joy in small things despite great difficulty. Their storms are different, but their weathering is familiar. This does not diminish your own struggle. It contextualizes it. It reminds you that you are part of the grand, messy, glorious human experiment in perseverance. Your chapter is unique, but the book is universal. This connection shatters the illusion of isolation that the storm tries to impose. You are not a single ship being tossed. You are part of a fleet. And while each vessel must hold its own, the shared destination and the signals flashing between you make the journey possible. So cultivate your orchestra. Nurture the connections that matter. Have the courage to be vulnerable, to say, my mast is cracking, so others can lend you the rope to brace it. And have the generosity to listen for the strains of struggle in the music of others, offering your own strength as a reinforcing cord. We are built for this interdependence. The hand that grips another is biologically and spiritually stronger than the hand clenched in a solitary fist. The storm will come for all of us. It is the price of admission to this vibrant, painful, beautiful life. But we do not face it as isolated notes, easily drowned out. We face it as a symphony. And a symphony with its blending of highs and lows, its moments of thunderous power and gentle grace, is a force that can fill any hall out, sing any gale, and turn the very energy of the storm into the breath that gives the music life. Your part is essential. Play it with everything you have and listen for the music around you. Together, we are not just built to withstand. We are built to create something magnificent from the very chaos that seeks to silence us. We arrive now at the culmination, the vista that becomes visible only after the storm has passed and the clouds have begun to part. This is not about merely surviving, about crawling onto the shore battered and gasping. This is about the legacy that the weathering leaves in its wake. It is about the person you become on the other side of the struggle, and the indelible mark that person leaves on the world. The ultimate purpose of being built to withstand is not just to endure the breaking waves, but to learn their rhythm so profoundly that you can eventually teach others to swim. Your scars are not just personal history. They are maps for the lost. Your hard-won peace is not just a private refuge. It is a lighthouse for other ships still in the fog. The storm, once fully integrated, becomes your source of authority, your well of empathy, and your gift to the future. Look back at every storm you have ever navigated. With the clarity of distance, you can likely see the gifts hidden in the wreckage. Perhaps a failure taught you a humility that made you a better leader. Perhaps a heartbreak opened you to a love you were previously too guarded to receive. Perhaps a period of lack taught you to appreciate abundance in its simplest forms. These are the dividends of resilience. They are not abstract concepts. They are lived wisdom etched into your nervous system. This wisdom becomes your new operating system, one that is far more sophisticated and capable than the one you had before the trouble began. You develop a kind of emotional and spiritual foresight. You can sense shifts in the weather of your life earlier. You know what truly matters, so you waste less time on trifles. You understand the temporary nature of pain, so you can offer a steady hand to those in its fresh grip. You have graduated from the theory of living to its practice, applied art. This transformation empowers you to become an architect for others. Having fortified your own inner citadel, you now understand the principles of strong construction. You can recognize when someone else's foundations are shaking. And from your storehouse of experience, not from a textbook of platitudes, you can offer the specific grounded support they need. It might be the simple, powerful words. I've been there. This feeling is not forever. It might be the silent solidarity of presence. It might be the practical solution you learned the hard way. Your past storms have granted you a contractor's license for the human soul. You are qualified to help others rebuild because you know what it is to hold the blueprints in trembling hands, to mix the mortar of hope, to lay one brick of courage at a time. Your survival was not for you alone. It was an apprenticeship in compassion. This is how we change the world. Not by avoiding suffering, but by transmuting our own into a force for good. History is not shaped solely by the untroubled and the privileged. It is shaped disproportionately by those who have been forged in fire. The healer who is most effective often carries the memory of their own sickness. The advocate for justice is often fueled by the burn of personal injustice. The guide who can lead others out of darkness is always one who has memorized the path through their own long night. Your storm, as personal and isolating as it felt, was also your training ground for a specific kind of service. The world does not need more people who have had easy lives. The world needs more people who have been broken open by life and have chosen to rebuild themselves with rooms for others inside. Your resilience becomes a renewable resource, an energy you can channel into creation, into connection, into lifting the collective burden. Imagine a chain of mountains weathered over eons by countless storms. The very peaks that attract the lightning, that bear the brunt of the hurricane-force winds, are the ones that become the most majestic. They are carved into grandeur by the very forces that sought to level them. Their slopes catch the rain and become rivers for the valleys below. Their heights provide perspective for all who look upon them. They stand as eternal testaments to the dynamic shaping power of struggle. You are that mountain range. Every storm you face is sculpting you into a more interesting, more compassionate, more formidable landscape. The runoff from your weathered slopes, your wisdom, your patience, your kindness, becomes nourishment for the ecosystems of people around you. So when the next storm gathers on your horizon, meet it with this new understanding. Do not simply brace yourself in dread. Stand up and recognize it as a familiar, if formidable, sculptor. You know its methods. You have studied its effects. You have survived its visit before, and you have been improved by them. This time, you are not a passive subject of the weather. You are an active collaborator in the creation of your own character. You are built for this. You are engineered for endurance, designed for transformation, wired for connection, and destined to leave a legacy of strength. The wind will howl, but you now know its song. The rain will lash, but you now know it as the water of growth. Let it come. You are not a shack to be flattened. You are not a sapling to be uprooted. You are the redwood. You are the mountain. You are the lighthouse. You are the symphony. You are the alchemist. You are and always have been unbreakably built to withstand, to transform, and ultimately to shine with the fierce, beautiful light that only those who have known the darkness can truly emanate. Go forward and weather magnificently